A gathering of older individuals are giving meetings about having lived in an environment of harvest scourge and consistent residue suggestive of the economic crisis of the early 20s of the 1930s. The first scene is an older lady expressing her dad was a rancher, yet didn't begin that way. The scene changes. We are acquainted with a rancher and single man named Joe Cooper, Matthew McConaughey. He is a school-taught previous NASA aircraft tester and specialist who had to surrender his occupation to cultivate, living in a once-over farmhouse, probably possessed by his father by marriage. They ranch corn, with wheat as of now not accessible and okra quite recently having become wiped out because of scourge. We see no creature life. It is the 2060s in eastern Colorado. The greater part of the total populace has been demolished from starvation and America has been decreased to a striving agrarian culture for the beyond 30 years. Innovation has ground to a halt for the beyond 40 or so years, with vehicles presently not delivered, and a PC is an extravagance thing. Anyway, optimistically, there are no more conflicts or militaries on the planet any longer. At a specific age, kids are tried to figure out what occupations they should take to assist humankind with making do. In school, it is instructed that the U.S. going to the moon in 1969 was a lie to drive the Soviet Association into liquidation and win the virus war. Cooper's family comprises of his kid father by marriage, Donald, John Lithgow, 15-year-old child Tom, Timothy Chalamet, and 10-year-old little girl Murph, Mackenzie Foy. Donald was brought into the world toward the finish of the 20th or start of the 21st hundred years and affectionately reviews times when innovation was continually changing, and new devices being created. He is a practical man who deals with the family obligations and coexists well with Cooper. Both of them sit on the patio savoring lager the night and philosophize about the state of the world and how things ought to be. Joe's child Tom is a kid of normal insight, previously being precluded to be a rancher by the school organization, since an advanced degree is currently something just a tiny rate those will partake in the honor of. His little girl Murph is a scrappy and exceptionally wise young lady whom Cooper is extremely near and who imparts his proclivity to space and science. She accepts her room is spooky by a phantom since books continue to tumble off her racks and a lunar boat model was simply pushed over. Not long after showing up at his last objective, a fenced-off gated region, Cooper is captured and tasered into obviousness. At the point when Cooper awakens, he is in a room being questioned by a peculiar-looking robot called TARS. It turns out Cooper is in the trick of the trade on the planet, a fortification, and meets his old manager from NASA, a British bloke named Dr. John Brand, Michael Caine, in addition to his lovely youthful girl, Amelia Brand, and Hathaway. No one is persuaded that Cooper just found the spot coincidentally, and Dr. Brand accepts a power brought Cooper there. The compound Cooper found is really the remainders of NASA, occupying the office covertly and as of now not subsidized by the public authority as a result of the shortage of assets. There is a space mission leaving soon to go through a wormhole of obscure beginning close to Saturn that will take them to 3 possibly livable planets, 2 of them circling a super-monstrous dark opening named Gargantua, a huge dark circle about the size and measurement of Earth's sun yet which has a sun-oriented mass of around 50 million Earth suns. A decade sooner, 12 individual space travelers were conveyed through the wormhole in 12 distinct boats, however just 3, mill operator, Mann, and Edmonds, enacted the thumbs-up guide, every one of whom are at 3 planets. Right now, NASA has no one to steer the space apparatus, and without a second to spare they maintain that Cooper should go, regardless of his family obligations. The following day, Cooper and Murph return to the farmhouse. His little girl is incredibly annoyed with him for picking the mission. Yet again that evening Cooper and Donald are perched on the yard drinking brew, and Cooper helping Donald to remember the purposelessness of remaining and the circumstances they live in. Donald guarantees Cooper he's making the best choice, yet needs to fix things with Murph. The following morning, Cooper gives his all to comfort a wailing Murph and vows to return to her and that they could try and be similar age when he returns, giving her a wristwatch to look at time. Murph declines his affirmation and that her shelf is speaking with her in Morse code to remain. Regardless of her requests, Cooper won't withdraw and another book tumbles down before he leaves, however Cooper ignores it. Cooper leaves and expresses farewell to Tom and Donald, and keeping in mind that he's heading out, Murph stomps out the front entryway needing to see him one final time. Yet at the same it's past the point of no return. Dr. Brand makes an outing in Cooper's old 2010 Evade smash truck to convey the vehicle back to the property and give a copied message from Cooper to his loved ones. Murph seems trusting her dad is home, however furiously storms once more into the house. Donald tells Dr. Brand about how Murph is embarrassing her instructors, yet Brand tells Donald perhaps she'll ultimately embarrass him. After 2 years, the Perseverance is circling Saturn and Cooper is out of cryosleep, inspecting video messages. His child Tom lets him know he's doing approve and Donald says howdy, advising Cooper that Murph actually will not converse with him. The Perseverance group happen upon the wormhole, which looks like a plasma globe and will give a speedy channel to the team to arrive at the 3 planets in the following universe. The team take off for the unpleasant ride, a la 2001 Boundlessness, and come to their most memorable mission, Mill Operator's planet. During the time through the wormhole, Amelia connects and feels she contacted somebody's hand. They end up in a locale of room around 10 billion light a long time from planet Earth. They choose to make a beeline for Mill Operator's planet, meaning to stop there just momentarily as its closeness to Gargantua causes serious gravitational time widening with every hour spent on a superficial level costing 7 Earth years. Cooper, Amelia, Doyle, and the robot Case choose to gamble with themselves and expect to be in and out of there in not more than minutes to overview, while Romilly stays on the Perseverance to concentrate on the dark opening and get quantum information from it. At the point when they land, all they find is shallow water and destruction of Mill Operator's boat, who evidently kicked the bucket and had shown up only a little while prior, despite the fact that she sent the thumbs-up signal on Earth 10 years prior. The group think there are mountains somewhere far off that end up being monster torrent waves. Brand becomes caught under the Mill Operator destruction and must be protected and conveyed back by Case. Doyle is suffocated, and the boat is overwhelmed and will not have the option to make it out for 1 more hour, costing them years. Cooper is baffled at Brand, however excuses her mix-up. After the motors are generally purged of water, Cooper fires them up and simply figures out how to get away from the following tsunami and take off the surface. On the planet, Murph quits recording the video. She is presently working for Dr. Brand and living in the NASA fortification, who is currently around 90 years of age and bound to a wheelchair. Brand is as yet attempting to settle the fragmented gravity condition to get Plan A rolling and is consoling Murph that the group of the Perseverance are accepting their recorded messages, yet the team can't send out. Now that the Perseverance team have recuperated sincerely from Murph's video, they banter whether to visit Man's planet or Edmund's planet, since they just have sufficient fuel to visit one of them before they head back to Earth. Bran needs to visit Edmund's planet since his planet seems, by all accounts, to be the better possibility. Yet Cooper needs to visit Man's since he's actually communicating his signal. A little while later, Murph is once again at the NASA shelter and learns Dr. Brand is passing on. He admits to her that Planon is unimaginable and that he had deceived her. He would never settle the gravity condition to get individuals off Earth. She accepts her dad had a profound knowledge of Brand's plan and that he got away and intentionally left her and every other person to bite the dust. Dr. Brand bites the dust. Murph sends a video message to Amelia educating her regarding her dad's passing and beseeches him to come clean that the entire situation had been a joke. The Perseverance group come to Man's planet a couple of months after the fact. The planet is never-endingly cool, covered with glacial masses, and has a noxious air of methane loaded up with ice mists. Dr. Mann, Matt Damon, who has been in cryosleep for north of 35 years, is stirred by Cooper and loses it and eased he is safeguarded. He recounts the tale of the bone-chilling, yet lovely world he lives in, demonstrating it has 80% of Earth's gravity and a lower part is reasonable, conceivably even a wellspring of new water. Bran sees the video Murph sent about her dad biting the dust and Plan A being a joke. She is totally stunned and had no clue, yet Man consoles her the condition was really tackled quite a while and the knot set in stone to be unimaginable before he at any point went on the mission. The best way to at any point get information is get inside a dark opening, which is unthinkable without being killed. Back on the planet, Murph and her sweetheart, Dr. Getty, Topher Effortlessness, another NASA physicist, are driving in her Jeep through the somber fields looking over the vast billows of dark smoke and families with their bedraggled 80 to 90-year-old vehicles out and about with their possessions close behind, similar as Midwestern ranchers in the 1930s disappearing to go west to track down a superior life. She realizes the condition is reasonable, the length of it comes from a dark opening and that Dr. Brand just gave part of it. Some place in her psyche, she has a premonition that the directions of residue on the floor of her room quite a while in the past gave her a clue. Along the books being driven over the rack, and with the Morse code message for Cooper to remain. She has an inclination this phantom is a being that has attempted to comfort her and assist with saving humankind. She knows it's not the end and that mankind is using up all available time. Cooper awakens to wind up in a medical clinic bed. An exceptionally spotless room with foundation commotion of a slugging stick breaking a ball and birds twittering. A specialist advises him to relax, flippantly letting him know he is currently 124 years of age. However, he actually appears to be identical in his mid to late 30s. The specialist tells Cooper he's extremely fortunate to be alive on the grounds that space officers found him with just minutes left in his oxygen. Cooper looks outside the window of his room with kids playing baseball with a hitter hitting a ball up high, which ends up being the lookout window of a topsy-turvy house with kids cheering at the window being broken. Cooper is informed he's on Cooper Station circling Saturn and thinks the station is named after him, however it was named after his little girl Murph. She's actually living and on another space station and will be there to visit him in a long time notwithstanding her age and well-being. Cooper is more than happy that plan and accomplished without a doubt figure out and that the gravity condition was tackled. The very rotator that was the NASA fortification is currently a space station to support human existence. Cooper is presently set free from his emergency clinic room by a local escort and shown the station. An O'Neill chamber with an old-world country American climate and has counterfeit daylight radiating from one side, which was a similar spot the rocket took off from a long time back. They pass by a gathering of smooth officer transports that are more effective than what he utilized, and he takes an extraordinary interest in them. He is directed to a gallery display, which is his old farmhouse, just much cleaner and re-established. There are recordings out of control of old individuals recounting the residue bowl they lived in, whom you saw toward the start of the film, one of which is his little girl. He finds a shorted-out TARS in the farmhouse the officers recuperated and quickly fixes him. Cooper is perched on the entryway patio that evening with TARS drinking lager like he and Donald used to do, yet extremely disappointed at the counterfeit environmental elements and claiming to be home. He's more inspired by the spaceships than whatever else, despite everything longing to investigate the unexplored world. Besides, nearly everyone he knew is presently dead and he wasn't invited back as a legend. Cooper gradually passes on her space to see her one final time, and she's encircled by her adored family and his relatives he doesn't know anything about. Realizing the space station isn't where he should be, he accepts Murph's recommendation to go search out Amelia Brand, who has arrived on Edmund's planet to begin colonization. It is a barren spot looking like Mars, however the air is breathable and can support life, so it's everything humankind can manage outside the space stations. Edmund's passed on some time in the past and is covered by case, yet Amelia keeps on camping out and places herself in cryosleep. Cooper takes one of the New Age officer delivers he's been fixated on and goes with TARS through the wormhole to track down her and beat the officers at their central goal.